Rev up your engines! Now, even though everybody seems to want SUVs these days, a lot of people still want vans. People always ask me, what's the best van? Well, Toyota Sienna, as far as I'm concerned, but number two would be the Honda Odysseys. They've been neck and neck, and strangely enough, 20 years ago to the day, they sold 170,000 of these Odysseys. Last year, they only sold 70, but that said, that outsold the Toyota Sienna. So they're not as popular as they once were, but they seem to be coming back to some extent. Now, they bought this one used at 132,000 miles. The one main problem, which is what happens with these Odysseys, happened to them. At 150,000 miles, yes, the transmission went out. He put in a used transmission, had it flushed, and it's working okay now, but that is the big crux for Honda Odyssey vans. You know how many Toyota Sienna transmissions I've seen gone bad? None. I've never seen one go bad. I have seen scores of these go bad. They just had problems with their transmissions. He, as a matter of fact, wants to get a Sienna van next. If we go under the hood, just like most of the Siennas, pretty reliable, 3.5 liter, intelligent variable valve timing engine, but as you can see, that's plastic. For the life of me, I still don't understand why Honda's still making rubber timing belts on an interference V6 engine. This one is 10 years old. It's got it. If you want to be a fanatic, you'd want to change the belt every 100,000 miles, because if that belt ever breaks, pistons hit the valves, destroy the engine, right? Toyota's been using V6 timing chains for ages in theirs, so there's less maintenance involved in the Toyota. They're both excellent engines. The Toyota will get a little bit better gas mileage. He gets about 20 miles a gallon in this thing, and it's not all-wheel drive, it's just front-wheel drive. You can understand why people are more interested in the Siennas in the long run, because they tend to last a lot longer. Now, hey, if I would have bought this thing and the transmission went out, I'd strangle myself for making a mistake of buying it, right? Because I know they go out. Now, this one went out, and he put in a used transmission. That cost him $3,500. Now, it's fine if it's going to last for many years, but of course, who knows? It came out of the same vehicle, right? Got to be pretty close to the same year, so it's probably got mileage on it. We don't know how long the thing's going to last. And if you try to get one actually rebuilt, you can double or triple that price, because they're extremely complex. And from my experience, nobody knows how to rebuild them. I've had customers buy them, have rebuilt ones put in. Sometimes within a year, they don't work right. Sometimes as soon as they get them put in, they don't work right. So, you know, it's a gamble, which is one reason I'm not a fan of these things. See if he can drive it from Tennessee down to Florida. So, we're going to check this whole thing out, see what shape it's in. Turn this baby on, and we'll do Diagnostic. Standalone diagnosis. Oh, it's the VIN number. It's a USA Odyssey 2014, okay? Up comes the info soon. Here we go, scanning through it while we are. Still in pretty good shape. Bunch of kids running around in it. As you can see, lots of room in these vans. Got a lot of space. That's why they are the biggest selling van in the United States last year. They sold more than Toyota. I personally don't understand, but people like the space, they like the way the Hondas ride. They ride a little bit smoother. As far as I'm concerned, the Siennas are better made. But hey, be that as it may, people have a choice. They can buy what they want. Got 15 trouble codes. Okay, so the ABS system, the battery voltage is low. Now that could knock the whole thing over, because it's going to say there's a problem with the computer and if you don't have enough battery. That could be it. Gauges. Lost communication, that could also be because of low battery. Now, the TPM system doesn't work because the gauges, the sending units inside the tires are probably, the batteries are dead. We don't really care about that. Driver's heater not working. Well, that's crazy. The heat does work here, so a lot of the stuff, driver's heat not working, can be because, guess what? The battery got low, and that's it. They're all crazy battery ones, so we're going to erase everything. See, the machine is starting to erase them all. When you buy a used vehicle, a lot of times, even if things were fixed, people don't have a machine like I do. They don't reset them, and they're going to have a lot of codes for stuff that isn't actually broken. We'll go to live data, and we'll start her up. Black is good, red is bad. Let's start looking at data, see what shape this baby is in. The map sensor's normal. Throttle, that's good. Let's see if anything, no red stuff yet, which is good. And look, the airflow, lamp is pretty good. 1.00 is perfect. And it's going between 1 minus 0.99, 1.01, that's pretty good. The average fuel trim is only 0.95, so it's not even 1%. It's pretty good. It's just running slightly lean. It's adding a tiny amount of fuel. Other data, it's all looking pretty good. Now, as I said, he did have to replace the transmission, and he got lucky. He got a used unit that's working. So let's take it for a spin and see how it goes. You can see, you know, there's no misfires. It's running perfect. None of the cylinders are misfiring. Well, car grade has a regular parking brake, not some electronic crap. You push it down and you push it up, right? And as you can see, not doing that bad for one of these. It gets 23 miles a gallon. 10 years old, still got a backup camera. Honda was one of the first people to really go big with backup cameras. And notice it's idling smooth. Extremely smooth idle. Well, it's used transmission shifting smooth. Now, of course, it's used. You're taking a gamble. You can see he's got this thing loaded with stuff for the kids, so you hear a lot of rattling. That's not the car. That's just all the stuff they have in it. Smooth handling. We'll take it out to the back of the road. Not the brakes here, but really, Hondas generally never have problems with their braking systems. Just change the pads when they wear out. That's about it. Engine's got plenty enough power for going up in the air. Now, it is a minivan, after all. It's not a drag race queen, but hey, we'll see what it does when we take off here, because we look in the back, there's nobody behind us. So we'll come to a stop. Nobody's coming. And here we go. Whoa! The traction control isn't working too good because that was burning rubber. This thing still has a solid engine. Under that load, the transmission shift's good. You got a good used transmission. Let's hope it lasts. It's got lane departure, but it doesn't work very well. First it beeped. Now it's not beeping at all. Let's see what happens. Nope, the lane departure system does not work very well. It beeped a second ago, and I am deliberately swerving over, and it's not beeping, so that system doesn't work very well. And check it out, it was in eco mode when we were doing burnout, so I gotta say, it's solid built van. I listen around, I don't hear wheel bearings, they're still not worn out. Now, that time the lane departure worked. You never know, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And for a van, really, it's got a decent turning radius. It turns pretty quick. It's not bad at all. I do have to say, it is zippier than the Toyota Sienna. And it does tend to handle a little bit better too, which is probably the reason they outsell the Siennas, when you think about it. Because people like driving fast and cornering fast, and they don't think that much about, will it last that long? Well, I think about how long they last. I still get a Sienna van. Both of my sons have them. You're zooming around, it does handle quite well. Even though it's got 188,000 miles on it now. Get with the transmission though, it shifts smooth. It's a used transmission, so it's a gamble, but it's working good for now. It's worked good for the last 38,000 miles for him. There you have it. I mean, I would buy a Sienna van. He's looking for one, as a matter of fact. Top graded, but hey, if it wasn't for that nagging transmission, I would have said great. But the problem is, a lot of these get transmission problems at that mileage. It went out at 150,000 miles. Now, let's say you bought it brand new. Some people think 150,000 miles is great, in which case you'd probably be happy with the thing. Me, I'd be mad, because for a Toyota, it's not even through like 1/3 of its lifespan by that, so I wouldn't have liked it. But hey, he fixed it, he's driving around, and now you know, if you're looking for one, you know what you're going to get. But if you listen to me, you get a Sienna instead. And here's some bonus questions and answers. Honda's overpowered said, what's wrong with my Honda's power steering? Me and a buddy are trying to fix a power steering on my old 05 Honda Accord, because someone tried to fix a coolant leak and they mistook the power steering pump for the water pump. They took it off and dropped it on the ground. Now the power steering won't work. We also changed the pump itself, and it still doesn't work. Check the lines first. If you change the pump, you got a known good pump, and it's still the power steering doesn't work, and it worked before, they probably bent something. Now, if they bent the line that feeds the power steering, or the line that comes back from the power steering, that will restrict the flow of the power steering fluid, and you won't have power steering. If they drop that, they probably bent something. You changed the pump, but the hoses and all the fittings, you use them over. So look closely, probably bent that, and now there's a restriction of the flow. I see that happen all the time. Now, let's say it didn't work before that work was done. Well, then it could be the power steering rack isn't working and the pump doesn't matter. It's pumping fluid to it, but the rack's broken. But, you know, that has nothing to do with putting a water pump on the car or even taking a power steering pump off. He either bent a line there, or if he was really sloppy, maybe he dropped the pump on top of the metal line going to the power steering rack and bent. Check all the lines at the power steering rack. They're metal lines there, and it could have easily bent them, and that'll restrict the flow. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.